We have a 2-minute video before we start so that we pass the torch between ULB, who hosted last year, and UCL, who's going to host tomorrow and on Sunday, and also between Jody Williams and Shirin Ebadi. So let's watch the video, and then I'll immediately cede the floor to Vincent Blondel, the rector of UCL, who's going to welcome us for this academic ceremony to launch Peacejam, hosted by the 4 universities.
So dear colleagues, and in particular, dear vice-rectors and pro-rectors of both, well, not both, but of all universities, ULB, VUB, KU Leuven, and UCL. It's quite an achievement to host all these vice-rectors and pro-rectors of the 4 universities together. Also students and colleagues, distinguished guests, and in particular, those coming from far away, from abroad. Thank you for traveling all your way to the University of Louvain and also to Louvain-la-Neuve. I hope you'll have time to enjoy some of your time here in Louvain-la-Neuve, pedestrian town. Peacejam was founded 19 years ago, almost 20 more. Next year it will be 20th anniversary, at the urging of the Dalai Lama and particularly of Dawn Engel. Peacejam has extensive experience in almost 40 countries, 39 countries, and we are really proud to report that Belgium is among the first European countries where it is taking root. Peacejam Belgium was initiated last year as a pilot project at the initiative of both ULB and UCL. The universities joined forces to assemble a group of 100 high school students who were mentored by university students. After this excellent experience, the UCL Rectoral Council, and I'm presiding this council, committed to support the project for the following 3 years. So it's not just this year, it's for the following 3 years. We want to commit to this program on a long-term basis for 3 years for at least 2 reasons. One, first, given that the challenges that our democratic societies are facing, we believe that this kind of program is highly beneficial to the education of the citizens of the future. ULB, VUB, KU Leuven, and UCL students from various faculties will mentor youth throughout the weekend. So inspired by Shirin Ebadi and Peacejam other Nobel Peace Prize laureate, these mentors have agreed to spend 3 intense days, and I believe that some of them can be identified in this audience by the T-shirt that they're wearing. Can they all just raise hands so that we can identify them. Let's. So we are very grateful to your commitment. Our long-term commitment is driven, secondly, by a desire to host Peacejam jointly with the 4 universities, because hosting duties for the annual conference, this is the annual conference, rotates between universities. So last year it was ULB, this year it's UCL, and so next year we'll see, right? But there are 4 and already 2 have gone through the wonderful experience, so I'm sure there'll be many more candidates for the next edition. So if we are to make a genuine contribution to peace, we must all play our parts. As institution of science and higher education, we want to show that we can set aside Belgium's historic, linguistic, and philosophical difference aside. The hosting by and participation of the 4 universities have been made possible thanks to the support of the Bernheim Foundation, which we sincerely thank. Thank you very much. We are also grateful for all the sponsors and donors that help make Peacejam a reality around the world and in particular in Belgium. I will now leave the floor to Don Engel, the co-founder of Peacejam, who will tell you more about the program, how we're going to get organized in the next days. Then you will hear from a representative of the authorities of each of the 4 universities, and thank you again all for being present with us this evening. And they will tell you more about why they have committed to the project. Finally, you will hear from Shirin Ebadi, who, on behalf of her 13 fellow Nobel Peace Prize laureates, will say a word concerning our joint commitment. So I now leave the floor. I thank you again for being here. I thank again all the students who will participate in this and who will mentor the students in the coming days. And I'll leave the floor to Peacejam co-founder Don Eagle, whose productivity and boundless energy has made this project possible. And I also thank Isabel Ferreras for organizing it.
So, hi, Peacejammers. There's a lot of Peacejammers in this room. Hello. Hey. It's going to be an amazing weekend. What happens at Peacejam is that we meet each other heart to heart. We go through the barriers and the stereotypes and the judging and the putting people in categories and different boxes, and we have an experience where we are human together, and it is a transformative process. We have had 1.3 million young people around the world participate in the Peacejam program so far. It's a year-long program. It goes on year after year. We have it at the secondary school level and the university level, but we also have a program for primary school students as well. And after doing this work for almost 24 years, I can tell you that I have been a student. There are a lot of students here at this university. I have been a student learning from 14 Nobel Peace Prize winners. The Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu, my husband and I were married by Desmond Tutu. He blessed our work, he blessed our marriage, and he said, now people who I marry, they never get divorced. So it was like, yes. So my husband and I will be married for all of eternity. And we're really thrilled about being able to do this work together around the world because lives get changed. We are in 40 different countries. We are unleashing the goodness and the greatness that is in every human being on this planet. Every child has goodness and greatness in them, and we need to open up and let them shine and give them role models like Shirin Ebadi, people who they can say, wow, they did great things, but they're just a human being. I'm a human being too. I can do something great in this world. Really, the example of the people in the park adopting the refugees and bringing them home, that's the power that we have. We give our power away. We vote every 4 years and then we say, there's nothing we can do. Well, we are the majority, right? We are living in the society. We don't have to accept things the way that they are. Our young people have created 33 million projects as part of our 1 billion Acts of Peace campaign. Young people who are taking on the toughest issues facing humanity. inspired by the leadership of the Nobel laureates and the teachings that they gained from Peacejam. So really what we're talking about is inspiring a whole new generation of young leaders who are committed to transforming themselves, their community, and the world. And I have to tell you that the Nobel Peace Prize winners, the 14 Nobel Peace Prize winners on our board, are absolutely committed to doing work here in Europe right now. As Srinivati has said, if we work now to build bridges, to break down barriers, to help people to understand how much we are alike, and we can care and respect each other and have friendships and common experiences, like the intense experience that's going to happen this weekend with young people from all sorts of different kinds of backgrounds. This is an example of how really the world needs to go forward, and young people get it like that. When you see these 4 universities coming together, you're role models for the youth. Putting aside past, not that we all agree on everything, we don't have to have exactly the same point of view, but we can talk to each other, right? We can sit with each other, we can work together as a team, right? And that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from the 14 years of doing Peacejam, is that peace has to be built. It has to be build the building blocks day by day. They're small acts, and they all have to work together. It's somebody going and helping somebody who's sleeping in a park, right? It's the work that the incredible youth at in Molenbeek have been doing under, I'm looking at Rudy, helping the senior citizens in their community, helping the homeless in their community, right? So all of us can do something. We can reach out our hand and help at least one other person. And if all of us did that, the world would be transformed. So I'm here to say thank you to people like Daniel Croft, who I can see right there, from the Learning for Wellbeing Foundation, who first brought us here to Belgium. Thank you, sir, so very much. Great respect and love to you. And I'm looking at someone from the European Commission who brought us in, and now we have we're part of the e-twinning network, European Union's network, with 500,000 teachers having the opportunity to participate in our programming. The Bernheim Foundation. We had a little party a year ago when this first started, and we clinked glasses and we said, you know, we're going to make this happen. And what an incredible example for the young people of Belgium, having 4 universities working together and putting aside whatever it is that's divided us and looking to the future. How are we going to build the society that we want to live in? How are we going to build the world that we know we can do better than this, right? We can do better than this. How are we going to build that world? Are we going to leave it to the politicians? Or are we going to be engaged as civil citizens and make the world that we want to see? So I'm just really, really happy. They gave me a really long list of people I'm supposed to thank. So I just make sure I don't forget anybody. All 4 universities, Isabel, who's extraordinary, and everybody at ULB who was amazing last year. We're so grateful to you. We have Foundation Louvain, the Learning for Wellbeing Foundation, the European Peer Training Organization, the Colroy Group, the King Baudouin Foundation, the European Commission, which has just given us a grant to strengthen and expand the Peacejam programming throughout Europe. And it's our goal to be in every single country in Europe 10 years from now. There's Rotary Tervuren, which I totally just murdered the name, and many other people who've volunteered their time and have said no to this negativity. I mean, I'm clearly an American from the land of Trump. And it's really scary to see the hate and the racism and the anger that's been unleashed in my country, in my home country. So we have to work really hard there, and we don't want that here either, right? We want a positive future, not a place that's so polarized and so divided, where we judge each other, we don't even know each other, and we hate each other. We can't have that. So thank you. Thank you for this incredible opportunity, for the beauty of this gathering, and for the ceremony we're about to witness. Thank you, Isabel.
Dear Srinivati, dear Dawn, dear colleagues from our 4 universities, dear students, it's already said a few times in the first session, we're living strange times, and according to Alexis de Soave, it's getting worse. And they happened a few things recently which I believe nobody could have predicted a few years ago. And I plan to start by quoting the President of the United States, but I decided not to do that any longer, partly because I feel embarrassed in his place. I could also quote from our Secretary of State of Asylum, which was also mentioned already before, who also launched some disgraceful tweets into the world. But coming back, for example, to Trump, the exchange of words between him and Kim Jong-un was really like a schoolyard exchange between small children. It was probably never seen before in a diplomatic context and between states with nuclear power. Closer by, it was also mentioned in the first session, in Turkey, after an attempt of coup d'etat, that was followed by a massive government crackdown on civil servants, on teachers, on academics, on civil society in general. According to Amnesty International, 40,000 people were in pre-trial detention during the emergency rule. Nearly 90,000 civil servants were dismissed, among them more than 20,000 working in universities. Journalists, activists, members of parliament were detained, and several thousands of academics are still in jail, and many more, as I said, lost their jobs. Also mentioned by Shirin Ebadi, closer, Hungary, a EU member country, not only closed its borders, also a university there is facing attacks from its own government, threatened of being closed down. And then on another note, in the news while I was driving through here, leaders from the dismissed Catalan regional government came to Brussels because they claim that their democratic rights were threatened. Catalan parliament and regional government have been dissolved, and the president of parliament is being brought in front of justice, as well as all the members of the government. Now, whichever side of this conflict which you believe, the fact is that since more than a decade, there has been no serious dialogue, no negotiations between the Catalan regional government and the central government in Madrid. Both sides are camping on their position, and a position which is unacceptable for the other side. So no dialogue. Europe, moreover, was also mentioned by Shirin Ebadi, has been the scene of terrorist attacks. Madrid, Paris, London, Nice, Brussels, Barcelona. And what Shirin said is very intriguing. The evidence is that nearly all of these, of the perpetrators of these attacks were raised and educated here, in our countries, in our schools, in our educational system. Brussels, no longer than a few days ago, was the scene of riots by young people raised in our country. These are a lot of interpelling facts. Now, surely there is not a simple answer to this. And there is not a single answer. There is not a single solution. But a necessary answer, not sufficient probably, but necessary answer is, I believe, education. Is to teach our citizens, our youngsters, the power of dialogue, of really listening to other opinions, how you might disagree. Opinions, of course, expressed, and that's important, in a civilized way. Of the importance of building bridges across cultural, linguistic, religious divides. For some of the world leaders I mentioned, probably this education comes too late. But hopefully not for our young people. VUB, as well as ULB, are universities not only located in Brussels, but firmly rooted in Brussels, in one of the most multicultural cities in the world. A city with enormous opportunities, in which decisions are taking which are affecting our daily life, as well as the geopolitical level. These decisions are taken there on a daily basis. But also a city with enormous divides, as we have witnessed in the past days. Linguistic, cultural, social, economic, religious divides. This is why VUB is happy, and not only happy, but also proud to participate in the Peacejam program. And this is why we did not hesitate a second when we were invited to join Peacejam. And thanks for inviting us. Also, Isabel, thanks, and to all the organizations who are collaborating to the Peacejam. Finally, a few words. I also want to recall here the sad fate of several of our citizens at this moment in Iran. Among them, a student of the Université de Liège, Hamid Babey, condemned to 6 years of prison. and the professor in disaster medicine of the VUB, Dr. Ahmadreza Jalali, being condemned to death penalty. Amnesty International now recognizes him as a prisoner of competence. Dr. Jalali was specialized in disaster medicine, of saving people's lives after disasters, not only disasters of natural origin, but also disasters caused by human action. And now a disaster happened to him and his family. And please remember his fate. Join us in the petitions that are going around, which are coordinated by Amnesty International, and that help to keep his case under public attention. That's the only thing which we can do, which might help. And then I want also to invite you to another event which we are organizing at the VUB in 2 weeks on November 29 under the general theme which was launched by our rector, Caroline Pauwels, which is Breaking Down the Walls. And we give a Dr. honoris causa to several people who were very involved in breaking down the walls for migration. But one of them is Dr. Emma Bonino, and the other is a representative of the people of the island of Lampedusa, because these people showed a tremendous hospitality, the flood of migrants which arrived on their coasts. Now, to end, I wish all the mentors, all the young participants, a very inspiring and peace-building weekend. The world needs it, and our city needs it. Thank you.
So dear Shirin Ebadi, dear Dawn, dear vice rectors, dear colleagues, dear friends, I'm extremely pleased to speak here in behalf of the ULB, which is one of the university partners of the Peacejam Belgium. ULB has been involved in this project since the first discussion about the creation of a Belgian hub for Peacejam more than a year ago. After a few minutes of discussion with Dawn in Brussels, we were already convinced that we must do everything we can for this project. We need to be part of it, to help Dawn teams to give birth to this partnership between Belgian universities. Successes are frequently due to a lot of preparation, but also to the ability to seize a unique opportunity. This unique opportunity was the venue of Dalai Lama to Brussels 1 year ago. There was a few weeks left to organize everything in our walls, but thanks to the unique collaboration of many actors, we managed to do it all together. There were many people involved in this first edition, and let me thank Isabelle Ferreira, Cathy Del Riso et Aurélie Rousseau, the coordinator of the Emil Bernheim Research Center in the ULB, for all their efforts. The chairman of our board, Pierre Grudjean, has played a central role to support Peacejam inside ULB. Let me also thank you for your support and energy. Thanks to them, Peacejam Belgium went lunch and was directly a great success. The smiles of the students were simple testimony of their joy to be part of this adventure. Indeed, Peacejam is an adventure, a unique adventure. Dear mentors, let me turn to you for the rest of my speech. I heard many times Peacejam is a wonderful and innovative project which aims at training and empower young people. Training of youth to help them acquire knowledge and competence is the daily concern of a university. Peacejam aims to contributing to a world where mutual help and peace are central. More than ever, the youth needs to take part and inspire the changes of our world's needs. You need to embark to new solutions, new ideas. Projects like Peacejam are crucial for this. They promote values such as creativity, solidarity, and sustainability. Those values are part of the one we fiercely defend and promote at the Université Libre de Bruxelles. The techniques used during the Peacejam process are innovative, particularly participative and diverse. From our experience during the first edition, you can trust us. You will never get bored. I'm sure you will learn a lot together. We are convinced that the collective intelligence you will have to display during these days will be very fruitful. And I'm already curious to see the result of your work. To conclude, I just would like to say a few words about our pleasure to see two Flemish universities joining us in this journey. It is, of course, a wonderful signal sent to all authorities of this country that we are 4 universities coming from different regions, speaking the same language to build a better world together. At ULB, we are convinced that this better world is possible, but we need collaboration and a lot of energy. Long life to Peacejam Belgium.
Respected Ms. Habidi, dear Dawn, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, all of you certainly know the famous masterpiece of René Magritte, Ceci n'est pas une pipe. I should say, celui-ci n'est pas Peter Lievens. So, because Peter, for the moment, he is with our rector, Luxels, in Lund, and they asked me, as honorary rector of the University of Leuven, to represent University of Leuven, what I do with great pleasure, and I feel very honored. What I would like to say is, today we are the 17th of November. Yesterday we were the 16th of November, of course. And the 16th of November is the anniversary of the foundation of UNESCO. UNESCO was founded in 1945, so now 72 years ago, as an organization within the United Nations, an organization that focuses since 72 years on peace building. Don't you have emphasized peace building? We have to construct peace. And it's by accident, in Belgium we have 2 UNESCO commissions. We are the only member state of the United where we have 2 UNESCO commissions. Spain has 1. Canada has 1, Switzerland has 1, but we have 2. So I have the pleasure and the honor to be the president of the Flemish UNESCO Commission in Belgium, and Philippe Busquin, Minister of State and former EU Commissioner for Science. He is the president of the French German-speaking UNESCO Commission. But don't be afraid, we have an excellent understanding. We build bridges together. And therefore, I would like to start to say that the very fact that 4 universities, but these 4 universities, are now involved in Peacejam, this is very important. We are 2 twin universities. I would even say Siamese twin universities. ULB, VUB, on the one hand, UCL, KU Leuven, on the other hand. We are sister universities, which is unique, and 4 free universities. And I would like to refer to 2 facts. First of all, if you would visit Leuven, where the University of Leuven-Louvain started in 1425, the main entrance of the University Hall, on your right hand, you have in Latin a plaquette put there by the ULB, shortly after the Second World War. During the Second World War, the ULB, which was Unitarian university like the University of Leuven-Louvain. The ULB was closed, and the rector of Leuven, Monsignor van Waaienberg, he took all the ULB students in Leuven. And for that time, I'm talking about many years ago, it was a Catholic university. Then he said, for the time being, everybody is equal, so no conditions. And so the students of the ULB were in Leuven. And also, the rector van Waaienberg, he refused to give the names of students to the German occupators to prevent them to be transported to Germany. He was put into jail for that for many months. So we are united. ULB, VUB, UCL, KUL. And then a second fact. Belgium has 3 Nobel Prize laureates in its history. The last one was in 1958. That was Dominique Pier. He was a Dominican father, and he got the Nobel Prize for Peace because of his work for refugees in Europe. Refugees in Europe. Then before him, I refer to the Nobel Prize Henri Lafontaine. It was in 1913. He was a former student of the ULB. And he got a Nobel Prize because he was the president of the International Bureau for Peace. And that institution also got in 1910 the Nobel Prize for Peace. Then before, it was the first Belgian one, was Auguste Marie-François Bernard. Alexis is no longer here, but he was from Ostend. And he has been for 10 years, at the end of the 19th century, Prime Minister of Belgium. And he got the Nobel Prize, and he was a former student of University of Leuven-Louvain. Also, he did law studies. And he got the Nobel Prize because of his resistance against slavery. Talking about the Congo. So our 2 twin universities produced Nobel Prize laureates in peace, which is also, in my opinion, an important fact to be involved in this wonderful project. Well, today universities all have the ambition to be international. Great debate, and for example, if you go to the Netherlands, there are a number of universities who even changed their name. Instead of, for example, Universiteit Tilburg, Tilburg University. They put it in English and they think they are international. Of course, they are not international. Being international is thinking global. It's here. It's in your minds. And that's why I would like to emphasize the commitment of the University of Leuven with the 3 other universities, the commitment into this very important program with Peacejam. Being international is meeting one another, is discussing, is debating. The university is a place of conversation. It's a place of conversation. And so, don't you also emphasized conversation. And the 3 speakers with Shirin and then Philippe and Alexis, they emphasized resistance. Resistance. Resistance against, I would say, resistance against injustice. Resistance against thinking narrow. We need that our students are open, that they are able to discuss. University, as I said, is a place of discussion and of conversation. And so, the commitment of the University of Leuven, KU Leuven, I may say today that we are really convinced to be really involved and engaged in this program. We are the youngest participant, in fact, the 4th one, who the decision was taken last October by the Rector's Bureau in Leuven. But I must say that we are convinced to continue. And I would like to say, to end by saying that we often hear saying, students, young people, you are the future. You are not only the future, you are the present. You are really the present. We need you today. We need you today to think freely. We are for free universities, in the true sense of the word. Free thinking. Be open. Open your minds. And finally, Irene, I would like to thank you also, to express our appreciation for the courage you have, to meet with young people, to convince them how important it is to resist. So thank you very much, and thank you to all of you, and I hope next year it will be either VUB or KU Leuven, it doesn't matter. We agree in any case to continue. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Dear Shirin Ebadi, dear Don Engel, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor for us to have you here at Louvain-la-Neuve. So the question that was asked us was, well, why do universities get involved with Peacejam? And maybe you ask yourself the same question. And, well, you've heard already several answers. My answer will be simple as well and will be quite similar to what previous vice-rectors have said and former rector. University get involved in fostering a culture of peace because we want our students to be responsible citizens. Now, if you think we have, as university, a long tradition to transmit knowledge, to foster critical thinking, we're quite good at that, but this is not enough to be a responsible citizen. Our teachers become more and more active in creating all sorts of innovative pedagogy. Why? Because they want to foster creativity, flexibility in our students so that they can challenge and actually deal with the challenge of an ever-changing world. But this is also not enough to be a responsible citizen. If we want to live in a better and sustainable world, well, we need citizens that respect one another. We've heard it. We need also citizens that accept and foster diversity as a way to open new horizons. We need also citizens who care for others, and not just citizens who care for their own interests. This is really what it means to be a responsible citizen. And you don't learn that sitting in a university classroom. And this is why it's so important that universities reach out also with other partners and associations to be able actually to give the ground to develop all the skills that are needed to be responsible citizens. So how do you learn that then? Well, obviously one main feature is to be surrounded and inspired by role models. And I can only reiterate my thanks to Shirin Ebadi for being here and being one of those persons who really show example that it is possible actually to be responsible citizens and that we can fight against the things that we don't like around us. We can be actors. You also learn to be responsible citizens because you are given the opportunity to act responsibly. It's not just hearing and seeing examples. You have to be given the opportunity to see that you can do it yourself. And this is why it's so great to have an event like Peacejam now here, because that's what you can do. You don't hear about things and concepts, you just use them, you do them. And this is really exactly what's going to happen, and I can only reiterate as well the thanks to Don for making possible to have Peacejam here. Thanks for all the organizers, Isabelle, Alicia, all the others. Thanks to the sponsors from the Sion Bernheim, because all that without you would just not be possible. And then, of course, you need also citizens who are willing to act responsible. And here I turn to our wonderful mentors, who will be the main pieces of the cake here, to actually act responsibly this weekend. So I think it's really a wonderful group of a diverse background. You come from different universities. It's a great example. So we have the example here. I'm so pleased to see that we can be here around this table, that we can show also through what we said that we have many things in common, more things in common than probably differences. And that's what you show as well, coming from all those backgrounds and university and working together this weekend. Now, our mentors, I will dedicate the last words to you. So I'm sure that you will fully embrace the opportunity that is given to you here to learn new skills, to become those responsible citizens. And I really hope that this event will endow you with lifelong skills that you can then mix with all the other skills that you learn at universities, and so that you can really help us, well, shape the present, as it was said, not just the future, but also construct that more better to live in place and more sustainable world. So enjoy your weekend, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you all. Yes, an apology to Rector Verven, because we changed the name tag. We forgot on the screen. That happened in on a very short notice, but we are so honored you came. Well, thank you so much. We just need to actually probably suggest you move back to your seat so that we can welcome again Shirin Ebadi and Mariam to do the translation.
بعد از سخنان جذاب و کاملی که شنیدید، در حقیقت من فقط تنها یک نکته می‌خواستم یادآور بشوم.
There isn't much more I can say following the beautiful remarks we've seen from our previous speakers. I just want to highlight one thing.
در علم پزشکی میگویند که پیشگیری بهتر از درمان است.
In medicine, they always say that prevention is better than cure.
همین مسئله در مورد مسائل اجتماعی هم صادقه.
And the same applies to social issues.
قبل از اینکه حوادث ناگواری در جامعه رخ بده، بایستی ما پیشگیری بکنیم.
We have to prevent the occurrence of tragedies in society.
به عقیده من بسیاری از این ترورها و خشونت‌هایی که در جامعه اتفاق افتاد قابل پیش بینی بود.
In my view, many of the terrorist attacks and acts of violence that we have recently witnessed could have been predicted.
من اشارم به پلیس و به زندان نیست.
I'm not talking about police, I'm not talking about prisons.
من منظورم این است که بایستی افرادی رو که مستعد این گونه اعمال بودند قبلا کمک میکردیم و اجازه نمیدادیم که به سوی اینقدر خشونت سوق داده بشن.
What I mean is that we should have tried to help these vulnerable people who were so easily swayed towards perpetrating these acts of terrorism.
در علم جرم شناسی میگویند که فقط یک مجرم وجود نداره.
In criminology, they always say that there isn't just one criminal.
وقتی جرمی اتفاق میفته جامعه مقصره.
And when a crime is perpetrated, it's society that is responsible.
جامعه‌ای که چشم بسته روی مشکلات.
A society that has turned a blind eye to all these problems.
جامعه‌ای که نخواسته مشکلات رو ببینه و راه حل ارائه بده.
A society that has refused to see the problems and come up with solutions.
بسیار خوشحالم که این مسئله الان در دانشگاه مطرح میشه.
I'm so happy to see that they are raising these issues at university now.
و جوانها این مسائل رو میبینن.
And young people are becoming aware.
و میدونن که اگر امروز فعالیت نکنند برای ساختن پل، فردا فاصله ها انقدر زیاد میشه که نمیشه پرش کرد.
And I'm glad to see that young people can see that if they don't engage in building bridges today, tomorrow the distances will be so far, the gaps will be so far that the damage will be irreparable.
یک انسان چطور میتونه از نعمت‌هایی که داره لذت ببره در حالتی که میداند همسایش در گرسنگی به سر میبره؟
How can a human being enjoy the blessings that he's been endowed with when he or she knows that their neighbor is suffering?
من چطور میتوانم شب راحت در منزل بخوابم و چشمم رو ببندم روی اون هوملسی که توی خیابون واسطه و داره التماس میکنه از من کمک میخواد؟
How can I sleep in my bed while I know that there are homeless people on the streets and they need my help?
وقتی ما صحبت از صلح میکنیم و ساختن صلح، یک مسئله خیلی مهمه و اون این است که بدانیم مثلا یک بار دیگر صلح رو تعریف کنیم.
When we talk about peace and building peace, it's important that we redefine peace.
صلح فقط نبود جنگ نیست.
Peace does not merely mean absence of war.
فرقی نمیکنه که کسی به وسیله گلوله دشمن کشته بشه یا به خاطر عدم دسترسی به واکسیناسیون و دارو.
It makes no difference whether somebody is killed by the enemy weapon or because of lack of access to medicine.
فرقی نمیکنه که دشمن بیاد خونه و کشور خونه ما رو بگیره، یه دشمن خارجی بیاد خونه ما رو بگیره، یا اینکه به خاطر اینکه نتوانستیم قسط بانک رو بدیم هوملس خونمون رو از دست دادیم و هوملس شدیم.
Makes no difference whether our home is suddenly taken over by some foreign enemy or whether we've had to give up our home because we've been unable to pay off our mortgage and debt.
همه اینها صلح رو که معنای واقعیش آرامش از بین میبره.
Because all this, it just totally takes away the meaning of peace, which means tranquility.
بنابراین در قرن 20 صلح رو بایستی اینطور معنا کرد.
Therefore, in this century, this is how we should define peace.
مجموعه شرایطی که باعث می شود یک انسان با حفظ کرامت انسانی خود آزادانه زندگی کند.
A collection of issues that will help a person live by having and maintaining his human dignity.
و هر چیزی که کرامت انسان رو صدمه بزنه صلح رو به خطر می اندازه.
And anything that damages that human dignity is detrimental to peace.
خوشحالم که عده‌ای از روز به روز تعداد بیشتری از جوانهای اروپایی به صلح و مسائل اون علاقه‌مند میشن.
I'm so happy to see how there is a growing number of youth in Europe that are becoming more and more interested in peace and any issue related to it.
دیدن جوانهایی که در برنامه‌های آموزشی صلح در گروه‌های مختلف از جمله پیسجم فعالیت می‌کنن واقعا امیدوار کننده است.
It really gives me so much hope when I see young people involved in peace movement and organizations such as Peacejam.
مطمئن باشید که فردا بهتر از امروز خواهد بود.
And be sure that our tomorrow will be much better than today.
برای اینکه شما دارید کار میکنید.
Because of you and your work.
موفق باشید.
I wish you success.
Well, so thank you so much. You're all welcome to a verre de l'amitié, a drink, to share some moments together now before the mentors go back to work tomorrow morning early. So, so let's cheer for this inauguration. Thank you.